400, the penultimate round of the MSA Off-Road Championship. The father and son duo of Franz Czepek Sr. and Jr. have wrapped up the Special Vehicle Championship with 2 events to go, while reigning Class B champion Caledon has matters under control in Class B. While Czepek Sr. has had a phenomenal run this season with 6 consecutive victories, the battle for second place in Class A rages on.
I think it's more a situation of myself or John or one of the other guys actually trying to win a race, because France has won all the events this year, and I think that's my first priority. I'm not too concerned about the championship. My concern is actually to go and beat France out there in a race before the end of the year.
The battle for the lead in the production vehicle category has raged between Bucks Caledon and Shumi van Vieren all season, but with 2 races to go, Neil Woolridge and Camille de Villiers are in with a chance. While overall victory has eluded Bucks Caledon and Henny Terstegen in the Works Mitsubishi Pajero, consistent podium finishes see them with a slender 5-point lead in the championship.
On the class championship, we've got a fairly comfortable lead there. If we can finish the next 2 races, no, we don't necessarily have to win. If we do a good class finish, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, then we should wrap up the championship for the class.
Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham are the Class E leaders in the Mareka Ford Ranger and have had a gaggle of Toyota crews intent on wrestling the lead away from them. 60 special and production vehicles entered the Mareka Ford Caledon 400. Class A had 15 entries, while Class B had 10, Class D 14, Class E 11, and Class T 10. With the production vehicle championship and 5 of the 6 class championships still to be decided, the competition promised to be tough. Ahead of the crews lay a 44-kilometer time trial to determine starting positions for Saturday's main event, which would be contested over a testing 455-kilometer course. Neil Woolridge and Kenny Skolthammer gained an early advantage when they posted the quickest time in the French-built Mareka Ford Ranger V8. The reigning production vehicle champions won the recent Queen Motor Spares Taka 400. Relative newcomer to off-road racing, Greg Dowse set the quickest time in last year's event, but had to be content with 2nd place this time round. On board with veterans Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek, who were 3rd quickest despite breaking 2 front drive shafts on the Nissan hardbody Super Truck. The pair won the Mitsubishi Marberspan 500 earlier in the season, but have had a spate of non-finishes in recent events, mainly due to gearbox problems. 54-year-old Franz Czepek Sr. and stand-in co-driver Steve Parker had a good run in the Porsche-powered V-Motors Chenoweth and would start in 4th place on Saturday. A welcome return to form for the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser of multiple production vehicle champions Api Reinecker and Robin Houghton. Many hours of development work by the Toyota Motorsport team had finally paid off, and they were rewarded with joint 4th place in the time trial. Former Special Vehicle Drivers Champion and reigning Special Vehicle Co-Drivers Champion Bucks Caledon and co-driver Henny Terstegen had a good run in the Mitsubishi Pajero, qualifying 6th quickest and a mere 7 seconds behind Reinecker. The Production Vehicle Championship leaders have been cast in the bridesmaids' role all season and were looking for their first win. Rookies Atang Makakhaneni and Mike Stangl had matters well under control in the supercharged Porsche-powered Jimco, and they would start in 7th position. Makakhaneni co-drove for Bevan Berthold last year and switched over to the driver's seat this year. Another rookie, Terrence Marsh, made his debut in the special vehicle category earlier this year and has put up some impressive performances. Reigning Class D champions Hein Grobler and Gerard Prinsloo have not had the best of seasons, but their impressive 9th position gave notice to the other Class D contenders that they meant business. Winners of 2 races this season, Camille de Villiers and Francois Jordan, also meant business, but a puncture and broken front drive shafts would see them start in 21st position in the Nissan hardbody. Terrence Marsh is a former off-road motorcycle racer who made the switch to 4 wheels earlier this year. The Gauteng-based businessman has some ambitious plans for next season.
We're really going to have a look at this race and see how the car does, get used to the car. After this race, we will be stripping the car and rebuilding it for next season. We've got big plans next season. We'll be racing in a team called Bosch Logistics next season. Myself and Greg Dowse will be driving. There'll be 2 cars involved. So we're very much looking forward to that. For the rest of the season, we're very much complete. We'll be moving to the Roof of Africa, which we'll be doing on the bike. So the cars will then go and get set up for next year.
Woolwich clinched the number 1 spot, followed by Douse. Probler was third quickest despite breaking drive shafts, while Reinecker and Chepek would start on the same second. Crews woke to sunny skies that promised dry and dusty conditions for much of the route. As always, there were last-minute preparations, well-wishers and autograph hunters.
It's always nice to start up the front, especially when it's dry and going to be dusty, I think. So it's nice to start up in front, although I personally prefer to follow a little bit, but it's nice to start first. Yeah?
At least we're with the top guys, and our vehicle feels nice. I think we've done a lot of development on the suspension, so it handles a lot better. Although we're still running with a standard box, but at least it's liable.
I'm looking forward to today. The Ford's got a minute on the rest of us, and between second and seventh there's 9 seconds. So it's going to be very tough up front, and we're going to have to. It's going to be a bun fight, but I'm looking forward to it. I think today's our race.
We're trying hard, and we're trying to get up there and keep to the head. It's a very muddy race. I think back down the field it'll be more difficult for other cars. The dust is normally a good reason why we try and qualify up ahead, but I think today it's not so much a factor.
It's been a long time since we started this down here. It looks like it's going to be a bit dusty, so we're going to have our work cut out to get to the front, and we're going to try our best to get there. We have to get as many points in this event as possible for the championship, so we're going to go quite hard from the beginning.
The route for the Mareka Ford Caledon 400 was based on the American off-road concept, where multiple service points are located near to a single major road, ensuring that the action is easily accessible to all. 7 a.m. and the moment everyone had been waiting for, the showdown of the super trucks with Woolwich and Skoldhammer first away in the Mareka Ford. 63 seconds later, it was Greg Douse and Trevor Ormerod's turn in the Cargo M2 City Raceco, but behind them there were 4 cars separated by 8 seconds, with a Nissan of Probler and Leek at the front of the pack. 20 minutes into the race, and as predicted by many, the V8-powered Mareka Ford of Neil Woolwich and Kenny Skoldhammer was in the lead, but the pair could not afford to relax their guard for a second. Probler and Leek were on a charge in the Nissan hardbody and had passed special vehicle leaders Douse and Ormerod in the 2.7-litre VW Type 4 powered Raceco, which surprisingly is fitted with a 4-speed gearbox. Not quite a match for the V6 powered Nissan. On board with Reinecker and Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. Since reverting from the unreliable 6-speed sequential gearbox to the standard 5-speed gearbox, the famed reliability of the Land Cruiser has returned. Carolyn and Testega's Mitsubishi Pajero wasn't quite a match for the more powerful Ford and Nissans, and for them it was a case of conserving the vehicle and gaining a podium finish. Behind them, Atang Makakhaneni in the Jimco and Franz Chepek Sr. in the Chenoweth were involved in their own battle for second position in the special vehicle category. Terence Marsh and Trevor Ahir had settled down well in their recently acquired V8-powered CommuterNet Jimco, but they would later retire when the automatic transmission cried enough. Lichtenberg 400 winners Cliff Barker and Vic Camper were well placed in the top 10. Barker hails from Brakpan and is also a former production vehicle champion. The Barker Performance Products Land Rover is powered by a BMW M3 motor. Nissan pair Probler and Prinsloo had a commanding lead in Class D, but were being chased hard by former special vehicle champion Greg Harvey and Boy Stone in the Queen Motorspares Jimco. On board with De Villiers and Jordan in the Nissan hardbody super truck as they carved their way through the field after starting 21st. The onboard footage has been speeded up by 20%. They made short work of John Moore in the fishbowl and then set off in pursuit of the vacation van's Jeep of Paolo Piazzamuso and Scott Abraham. This time the shortcut didn't deliver the desired result and they had to try again. Another shortcut, and this time they managed to get by the Jeep and Niels and Zelda van der Walt in the Class D Nissan. 50 minutes into the Mareka Ford Caledon 400, there was a new leader in the Nissan of Probler and Leek. What had happened to Woolwich and Skoldhammer? Greg Douse and Trevor Ormerod were well in control at the front of the chasing special vehicle pack. board with Reiniger and Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser as they overtake the stranded Mareka Ford of early race leaders Woolridge and Skoldhammer. The Toyota pair were having a trouble-free run, but behind them Atang Makakhaneni and Mike Stangl and Bucks Carolyn and Henny Testega were looking for a way past. Back on board with De Villiers and Jordan as they continued to reel in the opposition. They made quick work of Cliff Barker's Land Rover, which would later retire with suspension and engine problems. Then it was the turn of Harvey and Stone to come under pressure from the Nissan Star. Woolridge and Skoldhammer lost time with a puncture, and passing them moved the Nissan Geo into 6th place overall. Woolridge got underway again, and with the bit now firmly between his teeth, he started to reel in the opposition. The puncture cost him the lead and dropped him down to 6th place overall. The Mareka Ford pair had a lot of catching up to do. Despite a recent bout of pneumonia, Greg Harvey was in fine form in the Lexus V8-powered Jimco, which will soon be replaced by a radical Toyota super truck currently being built in Krugersdorp by Roger Taylor. Clarksdorp-based Hein Robler and Gerard Prinsloo were having a steady run in the top 10 in the Class D valid value Nissan Hardbody, but had the vacation vans Jeep of Paolo Piazza Musso and Scott Abraham bearing down on them. The two-wheel drive 6-litre V8 powered Jeep started 19th and was now 10th overall. Drama at the first service point. Chebeck collided with Makakhaneni and damaged the V-Motors Chenoweth.
Yeah, man, early on in the dust we got lost, and because the dust was bad, so somebody nearly went hit the fence, so we tried to stop behind him in the dust, but it was too late. So there he was, and we were going quite quick, and we hit him very, very hard up the backside and popped our master cylinder, bent our front wheel, got out, tried to fix it, worked for about 10-15 k's, but then the brakes packed up completely, and we did last like 20-30 k's with no brakes, and it's very dangerous. So we're going to fix it, and if we can fix it, we carry on. If we don't fix it, we're not driving without brakes.
The consistent Henry and Marisa Matten held down second.